Hello there, Kaos Nova here, and this is another one of my Kaos Tutorials episodes. So, in another round of Windows on Mac porting, we are going to show you how to get Fallout 4 running on Mac OS using Codeweavers Crossover. So, this isn't exactly as great as other Fallout games, but it will run fairly well. You just need to understand a little bit in terms of getting it going. The Bethesda audio override applies to this game, and I'll have a link to the Bethesda audio override video that I have, as well as show you how to do it for Fallout 4, but I'll also have the video in the description that shows you how to do it. It's a very worthwhile technique for getting Bethesda games running on Mac OS using Codeweavers Crossover. I'm going to be trying to see if it also works in Porting Kit or Wineskin, because that would be great if it actually does. So to get started, you're going to do a standard installation, and you're going to also do the Bethesda audio override. And after I show you how the installation is done, I'm going to be giving a rating for compatibility on Fallout 4. As a general introduction, Fallout 4 was released in 2015. It was the sequel to Fallout 3, and it's part of the Fallout universe. It came out around 5 years after Fallout New Vegas, and it came out 7 years after Fallout 3. Now, Fallout 4 is set in Massachusetts, whereas Fallout 3 was set in Washington, D.C., and Fallout 4 contains a number of follow-ups to what you were introduced to in Fallout 3. In Fallout 3, the Commonwealth is mentioned, Commonwealth being referred to Massachusetts, and you were also mentioned that there was an institute, which I presume was the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, or at least the version of it in the Fallout timeline. And then you also have other elements that are added to Fallout 4, as well as a number of retcons. The mechanics, I'm not exactly impressed with the mechanics of Fallout 4 in every way. The one thing I really like to get this all set aside is when I'm playing Fallout 4, my skills are linked very strongly to my attributes. So if I want to be a lockpick, my big skill that's linked to having lockpicking skills going up is perception. If I want to be a better computer hacker, in order to get the computer hacker perks leveled up, because that's pretty much what it is now, it's just levels of perks. It's usually about 4 levels of a perk. I need to have a certain level for intelligence, for computer hacking. And then it's also linked, and I can go on, because in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, what I could do is I could essentially spam skills up using intelligence. I mean, there was an initial boost to what your skill points were due to an attribute, but intelligence overwhelmingly reigns supreme in terms of actual skills. Now, it wouldn't make much sense for someone to have, let me see, just by having intelligence, you could just level up all your skills, in terms of the skill points from 0 to 100. But in Fallout 4, it's a watered down perk system, but these skills are related to specific attributes, like I've already gone over. So I feel that is something I enjoyed about it. I enjoyed not being able to just spam up skills with intelligence. I was a little surprised by how the game began, which it begins before the nuclear bombs or the war happens in 2077, and so basically you get frozen for a while. So now, since I've introduced you to the fact that that's what I like about Fallout 4, I'm just overall not too impressed. They treated it as an RPG for an action or shooting game, which isn't as enjoyable. It's similar to, they make it more like BioShock than a Fallout game, if that makes any sense. Because basically BioShock has almost exactly the perk system that Fallout 4 has. And even then, when you go to Bioshock, that's a more streamlined version of System Shock. And I do have a review on how to get System Shock running. I'll have the link to that in the description on my System Shock instruction video for getting that running on macOS. But I'm going to get back to this topic and just say that Fallout 4 is enjoyable to an extent. I mean, I don't enjoy it as much as the previous Fallout games, and it's much more shooter than an RPG. So now we've gotten that out of the way, we're going to talk about installation. And then we're going to talk about ratings for compatibility. Now, one thing that Fallout 4 also does that distracts me somewhat from the main plot, which is not impressive to me so far, is just the fact that you can do a lot more salvaging than you could do in previous Fallout games, such as Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. A lot more salvaging. You can build custom weapons parts and custom weapons upgrades as long as you have the materials, and you can salvage almost anything in this game. I mean, you can't salvage beyond a base material such as a metal or spring or nuclear material, but you can break down almost anything in this game. It's crazy. Like, you can go collect a lamp on a desk. You can go collect an alarm clock. You can go collect or even break down your own armor or guns into basic parts, basic components. And that's somewhat of a distraction. Plus, you can actually do what's called base building or building settlements, and you can, from all the components you collect and all the base elements that make up various items in the game, you can build up buildings. You can build custom traps. You can build your own sentry gun to guard your settlement. You can build water, and you also have issues with resources for how many people you can support in the settlement as well. Okay, you need a certain amount of water, you need a certain amount of food, a certain number of beds for everyone to sleep. All of that when it comes to building up settlements. So it added this element of building up bases and extra salvaging. And for a game back then, I can understand it because there was a trend with Minecraft, and Minecraft is a game that sells a lot. It has sold a lot, and a lot of people like it for the sandbox element. So they wanted to, as far as I can tell, they wanted to put the sandbox building element into Fallout 4 as an evolution of what you could do in previous Elder Scrolls or Fallout games. In the previous games, you could literally go and buy parts for your house in Oblivion or in Fallout 3, buy parts of your house, upgrade it. You can also go and build custom weapons in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. And then that evolves a little more so you can build custom parts for your weapons and upgrade them at a workbench. Same with armor as well, which is great. You just need certain perks, which is also an evolution from the previous Fallout games for Bethesda, which is where you need base components and you need certain skill levels to be able to build these custom weapons, custom parts, or even custom parts of your settlement. And those include perks such as Gun Nut, which you've seen in previous Fallout games, but now it's not only really works for your skills you are guns and repairing, but now the Gun Nut perk works for mods. I mean, your weapons upgrades depend on you being able to have a good Gun Nut perk ranking. And so the salvaging and base building, as they call it, or settlement building, is an interesting part to the game that could get you drawn in. It got me drawn in quite a bit because it's a nice way for me to get experience without just going out and fighting people or just going out and hacking computers or picking locks. I haven't quite gotten any of the DLCs yet, although I anticipate them to be alright. So I can't really review Fallout 4 thoroughly because I haven't seen the DLCs yet. But even when I've seen, the names sound interesting. Like Nuka World sounds like a theme park for Nuka-Cola soda. So it's interesting, and I'll be enjoying it, hopefully, when I get to the DLCs. The other thing I don't really enjoy about Fallout 4 is that you don't have the skill-specific dialogue that you had in previous Fallout games. Where you have a skill linked to dialogue options because you know a lot about explosives, so you can tell someone in Fallout 3 or New Vegas that, hey, I know how to use explosives, maybe this will work. Or maybe you don't have a certain amount of speech, well, I know how to talk well, so maybe this persuasion works in dialogue. Or I have, say, Lady Killer, so this works. And I feel that a lot of this, simple 4-option dialogue was part of this fact that, games now are built for consoles. And, the console controller, I'll admit I haven't played Xbox or PlayStation for Fallout 4 at this point, but those would be 4-button wheels or simple button taps to make your dialogue selections, and that, that's a case of having consoles in mind. So the dialogue, the dialogue doesn't impress me very much. It is cool that you can be called your name, especially by Codsworth, your robot butler, based on what name you typed in. So they essentially do an AI voice of the name that you typed in. For instance, I get called Mr. Nova by Codsworth, and it works. But the dialogue, I'm not impressed with. It does keep, what I'm going to say is the general lockpicking or computer hacking mechanics of Fallout 3 and New Vegas. It's just not much for the dialogue that you can have with various NPCs. I'll say, some of the creatures or monsters in Fallout 4 it's okay. I mean, you have the Mirror Lurch, because it seems that they would also exist in New England. I haven't met rad scorpions yet, but the robots from Fallout 3 in New Vegas exist. There's Assaultrons that I met briefly on one of the Commonwealth quests because raiders had the Assaultrons guarding them. And otherwise, it's a lot of the monsters so far seem to just be higher resolution versions of the Fallout 3 monsters. And I was just disappointed with the last part of the game, which is when getting started, because I just didn't feel like I really had to earn the power armor when I started, or earn the minigun, a really powerful gun. So far, it seems that a lot of what you earned in earlier Fallout games isn't earned so much here, but they mainly distract you with salvaging and base building. Overall, this is a okay shooter, but it has the same kind of streamlining of what used to be an RPG that BioShock was to System Shock, where it's more streamlined, much easier and accessible to play, simpler mechanics, and really built for consoles, not PC. Alright, now to get started on installing, we're going to do a standard install. You're going to find your installer files and make sure you have all the parts of the installation that you need for Fallout 4. You can do this either by using GOG Galaxy, which is an app downloadable from GOG.com on the website, or you can use GOG.com to download the various installers. I'm not going to show you the whole installation process for Fallout 4 because that just takes quite a while to do that. It's quite a long process to get that going. But we're going to do a standard install, and I'm going to talk about some other recommended resources in the meantime while we get going with a long installation. And I'm even going to abbreviate the installation for a bit because this takes a while. This takes 15 to 20 minutes depending on your machine to install it into Codeweavers Crossover. But just to get it started for the installation, you're going to start with Windows 10 64-bit for the bottle, and we'll work from there. So you have Fallout 4 installer files, Windows 10 64-bit. That gets started. Now, while this installation is going on, I'm going to talk about some other recommended resources regarding Codeweavers Crossover and myself.
Alright, so just to pass some time while this is installing, I'm not going to do the full installation run time, but it takes 15 to 20 minutes depending on your computer to do the installation. So we're not going to use that full time, but I'm just letting you know that if it's taking more than 15 to 20 minutes, you're having problems with your computer while installing. So just like you, I use Codeweavers Crossover, and just to get a way of helping you solve and troubleshoot your apps in Codeweavers Crossover, come be on the Codeweavers Crossover forums. I have a link to the website, and you can look up the compatibility forums and all sorts of resources. You can order the software if you don't have it right now. But I started off at this about 10 years ago using Codeweavers Crossover, and it's served me very well over those years. Now, I recommend if you do it, do the same. Users such as myself contribute to the forums, and we help figure out how to get things working. We have simple guides and tips that we make for apps in the compatibility database, and you can look up the game by the name of the game and go, oh wow, so this, go to the forums, check out the tips, all of that. And you can even see the ratings that users such as myself or yourself contribute. So that's my invitation here. Go join the forums. If you're using Codeweavers Crossover, you can be up to date with plenty of tips from users like you or myself. And the other thing is, I'm going to recommend a few things. Codeweavers Crossover also has a YouTube channel, and I'll have the link in the description. Check that out. And I'm also going to be on a break for a while from making new reviews. There's work to do, spring cleaning. You probably know all that business. But I'm also going to be remaking other videos for my other series. I made some lore videos, and I feel that they need to be redone. I found that some of the audio could be done better, and the overall videos could be scripted better. So I'm going to be redoing some of those, just for better quality, because I know how to edit videos better now. And that's the great thing about learning. When you have learned something so well, you explain to somebody else. And that's what I'm doing. I learned better how to edit videos, and I learned better how to port software. So I'm sharing it with you, my audience. So in the meantime, I'm just going to say these are some recommendations I have. And now we're going to get out of the installing process and go into the Bethesda Audio Override, which you should do after installation to get this program running well. Same with the various Bethesda RPGs. So I'm going to have the Bethesda Audio Override, and I have a video for just that technique. I'll have a link to that in the description as well. And you can go check it out for reference if you ever need to figure, oh, okay, this is how I get this game by Bethesda running very well. So I'll have that for you in the description.
Hi, so today we're going to be doing the Bethesda Audio Override. So to get started, we're going to go and do a standard install first using GOG.com installer, which you should already have installed or downloaded. So the key here to this Bethesda Audio Override is that the DirectX install has errors. It doesn't run completely, so we have to find the files that need to be substituted and put them in to make the DirectX functionality for these Bethesda games work just great. So I'm going to take a little break from this installation process and show you the Bethesda games that work with this override. And so the override works like this. So first there is The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, then there's Fallout 3, and then there is Fallout 4 and Skyrim. All these games benefit from this audio override to prevent the audio from being skippy. So with these hurdles and basic
list taken care of, we're going to get started and get the audio override running. Alright? Alright. So as we get started with the override, here we are. We're going to one configuration. Now, I'm going to have a note file, and here it is. These are the files. You need to copy and paste the words into the one configuration. The library tab, to be more specific. So you take the library tab, cut and paste these in. Then when you cut it in, you add it in, and make sure you apply so that it saves that setting. So you add, do copy and paste 4 times for each of these 4 files that didn't get installed with the DirectX component. There's the 4th one. Add after you paste it in. Apply. And OK. So now it should work just great because you've added all the files.
All right, so now I'm going to give you the rating for Fallout 4 here on Codeweavers Crossover. So, first of all, this game has its problems while running. It runs overall pretty well, but it has the issues of having the screen freeze, in which you have to temporarily either minimize the whole window for the app of Fallout 4, or you have to go and temporarily put your computer to sleep, wake it up again, and start it again so that it goes back into the app. And that's not very good. And the other issue is that occasionally this game actually does crash. Overall, it has a lot less issues with the graphics and display. And it also has a higher risk of crashing when you go into higher than low quality settings. It's something with the software and the drivers which results in this game not working well on higher graphics settings. Even with my higher performance graphics cards, it still has crashing issues more frequently when I put higher graphics settings. I'm not sure why, but overall this game can be played if you don't mind lower graphics settings. Fine, you can play it that way. All right, now I'm going to have to say this game is a 3 out of 5 for 24. It's a 4 out of 5 if you use low graphics settings. All right, it doesn't run super well. It has some issues, but it does run. It does start up, and you just need to remember to run it a certain way. So keep that in mind. This game does run. It has some issues. Like I said, you need to either minimize the app or you need to put a temporary sleep on your computer by, if you have a laptop, closing the screen and opening it again, then hitting enter to get back out of the frozen screen while the audio in the game is still running. So it has some issues. I'm just letting you know here. I'm going to be trying it on Porting Kit and seeing how well that works, because I'm going to be testing more Porting Kit for a Windows on Mac porting software. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be up for more reviews later. I'll be signing off.
Hello there. Now this is a way you can support my channel here. So first way is my store. This is the Streamlabs store. You can go buy some merchandise, support the channel, some little wacky merchandise with logos on it. Coming up next is my Teespring store, which I will feature products from the store on my videos, other content from time to time. Similar. Very similar, cool, spiffy merchandise you can get with logos on it. A nice hoodie right here with the winter season going on. And here's my Patreon. You can subscribe for exclusive access, early access, and the honor of being a member who offers support to my channel and the ongoing operations and creations especially. And the other one here, I also have a Rumble, which I have other videos for, because with YouTube you want to have a subject focus, so there's other content of other subjects. And this should be it. So in the meantime, I want to thank you as my audience for stopping by to watch this video. Thank you for all your support. In the meantime, be safe out there, and I'll be signing off.
Hi everyone, Kaos Nova here, and this is the ending of the video presentation on kaostutorials. And here's the deal: if you want to see more of my tutorials on getting your old games to work on Mac, and you want to see more tutorials on how to do various other tasks, such as very cheap ways to make YouTube videos that still look decent, and much more, feel free to subscribe. And if you want to be among the first to get each video, hit the notifications. And please, if you enjoy liking this, your vote still counts, so please click the like with a big thumbs up. All right, you have a wonderful day, and I'll be signing off.